Welcome everyone to this last weekend of May. It is raining. It has been raining all month, it feels like, but I found some lovely peonies in the farmer's market this morning, and I am painting them with you today, as well as including them in a bit of a journal page that I talk about in the video, as well as in the newsletter this month, which I'm going to put the link into below. But I hope you join me in painting these lovely and easy peonies. It's just a simple sketch. As we finish the month, the season of spring, I cannot believe how fast the year is going. Well, welcome to our final painting session for the spring season of 2025. I am so glad you're here. We're going to do just a gentle, easy watercolor sketch with peonies, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to add some things on this one that I've already done. But this is correlating with the newsletter that I'm sending out later today. So if you're not on the newsletter list, I would love for you to be a part of that and join me. We do a lot of, I share a lot of other additional creative fun things, inspiration each month, and ideas. So, but let's get going on our beautiful sketch today. I have here a couple of peonies that I just bought, and for the sake of just being able to do a quick watercolor sketch, I wanted to grab some and paint them when they are, as you can see, all closed. Now they are actually already starting to open, the ones I put in the water, so they are just eager, I think, to explode, and I love watching them. I like buying them when they're closed shut as much as possible, and then I can just enjoy all just a longer life, right? Watching them get bigger and bigger. So if you're going to paint with me, grab I had a pencil, but I'm grabbing a pen because I want you to see it really well, and that's always a bit hard to do with my pencil. But you know what? I think I'm just going to do a pencil today. We're actually just going to do a pretty light sketch, and what I want to do is, you can see I've got my, I kind of decided I was going to crisscross them a little bit. So we have one above the other, and now what you see, we're going to do a couple of leaves, not all of them, and then we're going to do the blooms that we can see. So right on this one, then what I'm going to do is I want one higher than the other because that's going to look really just more aesthetically pleasing. And I'm going to start by sketching just the tip of my beautiful petal, and I actually have the green stem right here, right, going up above and coming out, and I have actually a little bit of the pink showing through. I have another one of the green over here. I grabbed my pen because I realized it was just going to be too faint, and I don't want that. I want you to see what I'm doing. Just a very light sketch here. The petal here, I'll bring that in closer so you can see it, and I'll move this up. But you can see I am just kind of getting the essence of it here. And then we actually have one of the green stems coming out back that way. So I've got that one there. And I really love how the green part, that stem, really protects the peony, right? And then I've got another guy coming kind of like over here. So there's the one, and I have a leaf coming out over here. I'm going to just do part of it in case I run into my other flower, and then I'm going to do the other flower, this one right here, because we're going to have to do a little bit of creative editing so we can fit them both on our 6x9 paper, right? So I'm going to go ahead, and once again, it's all in a ball, but we can see those petals just gently. I've got my other side here. It really almost comes in a perfect ball if we did it without the stems. And then I'm going to I have my one stem, I'm going to bring it up nice and tight here. This guy will go behind it like that. Now with this petal, I've got one coming off here, and I see another one up here and then over here. So there's my petals here, and I kind of show you. See, they're very faint right now, but you can see them just ever so gently. Now we have the green one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one. That's going to be green. And then we're going to kind of eliminate some of the other green because it gets to be a little bit much. And then I'm going to make my stem. I want my stems to cross on this one. So I'm going to bring this back so you can see it. Oh, good, you can. I've got this stem here. We're going to crisscross them. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do as well. Okay, the second part of this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple leaves, and these peonies were so leafy. I had to strip off a lot of the leaves when I came home but I got them at the farmer's market for it was a wonderful. They had tons of them, all fresh and new, exactly what I wanted. Okay, so for this one, this guy, see how we had the leaf coming up here? And the one I did the one on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do one of the leaves that are just sticking up off the side. Like this. And you can do as many leaves or as few as we want, because this is a watercolor sketch, right? We're not doing it really detailed. I do have a really detailed, like really looking at like a portrait of the peony that's coming up in a big series called In Full Bloom. And that one we take about an hour and paint beautiful peony portraits, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's not ready yet, not quite yet, but it's coming. Okay, so we've got that sketch down. Okay, so all we're going to use really is pink, like a brightest pink that you have, a little bit of purple and green. That's it. Even for the brown that you can kind of see in the stem right here, we're going to just mix pink and brown. That way we don't have to introduce a brown, and we always like to keep our palette with as few colors as possible so that it will sing. Okay, so get your colors ready, have some clean water out, and we're gonna go ahead now. And I'm sorry, the lighting is okay today. We have had so much rain this month. Like, I have more rainy days than sunny days, and so I'm sure that's gonna change, but I mean, April showers bring May flowers, so May showers will bring June flowers, I'm guessing, right? Everything's gonna be super green. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my pink. Now, depending on the kind of peonies, maybe you have some at home, you can see mine are pretty bright. Like, I love these bright ones. Now, you oftentimes, though, there's those blush ones that are just super pale, like the lightest of pink. And if you have those, or if you love those, you can just start out by adding a lot more water and just do a really light pink with yours. Now on this one, remember, this is that green petal, that protective stem that's protecting it. So just keep in mind what's a petal and then what's the stems that haven't kind of folded. They all end up folding back as the peony opens. So I'm going to just go really light, and let me bring this in so you can see this, but it's very light. I'm not too worried about going too dark, because what I can do is I can just add more color, right? I can just keep adding really bold color, and you can see I'm dabbing. I'm going to be doing lots of dabbing in this one because I want it to pop. If I paint it solid, like just kind of like brush strokes, what'll end up happening is it's going to look flat, and I don't want that. So again, I'm just dabbing, and this one I'm going a little bit bolder because I did have these beautiful pink bold peonies coming around here, and then on this one I had that stem sticking out. Okay, and that's really all the pink we have showing. Now I'm going to take a hint of purple. You don't have to do this. You could also use alizarin crimson if you have that. And because I just want to emphasize some more boldness, especially we almost have some like blending here, and I'm just putting a little bit of that purple, the tiniest bit in here, because I don't want it to look purple. I just want it to sing a little bit more, and I've left some white spots. Okay, and so that's it. That's all I'm really going to do for now. Now on this one, you can see I'm going to get a dry brush, and I want to just bring up this paint at a little bit more of an angle to show that paint, that tip. I'll just move that here. There we go. That looks good. Maybe get a little bit more paint. Just dab, dab, dab. Okay, lovely. Now let's go start playing with our green. If we look at the peonies, these the leaves, there's actually, it's a dark green, but there's also kind of a warm green too. So I'm actually blending a hooker's green, a sap green, and just a little bit of yellow. You don't have to do that much, but I was just playing with it to really kind of blend and try to get to match those colors. So what I'm going to do, just for a little bit of yellow, I've got just a little bit of like cadmium yellow, a littlest bit, and you can see where it's just a little bit lighter here. See that there? Like it's just right, it's not a lot, but it's a little bit, so I'm just going to dab some yellow in there. I'm also going to pull that yellow on the stem because definitely the stems are a little bit lighter. I'm going to come over here as well. I'm just going to pull that yellow down, pick up a little bit more water, a little bit more yellow, and again, I'm just kind of dabbing, around here. I'm going to have this guy over here. Okay, so now that I have that, what I've done is I've taken I had a bunch of sap green, and I took the sap green and I mixed it over here with my hooker's green so that we're kind of getting a mixture on the here. So that's going to be one kind of green that I'm going to use. I'm going to pick up some more water and I'm going to just kind of drop in. See, that's a pretty dark green, right? And we're catchy. So I'm not adding it everywhere. Be careful about getting too close to your pink. I'm going to actually stay away from the pink now. I'm going to pull this down into the yellow. So that's going to lighten up a little bit. And where I pulled off my other extra stem sleeves, I'm going to show where those stems are. And then over here as well, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that color and even just dab it on. And again, leave a little bit of a white space there so we don't get the green into the pink, because if that happens, we've got brown. We have got brown, and you know I have done that many a time. So I'm going to be extra cautious here. I'm going to pick up some sap green. Sap green is, you have to be careful with it sometimes because it is a really warm, muted green. But really on the peony leaves, I find it helpful because they're not a bright green, right? They have that sense, a bit of that hooker's green. So that's my sap green. But it's a bold, it's almost a muted dark green. So I'm just trying to match up some of those colors there. And then when they're highlighted, they look almost like a softer yellow. So again, the stems themselves are a lighter green for sure, almost a yellow green with a little bit of brown where we're seeing that there, but we're going to add in just a little bit of pink, and that's going to take care of that. So I'm just moving down, and where are we on time-wise? Oh, we're doing really good. We're about 12-ish minutes, so we're going to easily come and create this under 20 minutes, which was my goal. I know this time of year too is very busy, whether you're watching it at the end of May where, you know, there might be graduations, school's finishing, school's not quite finished, which means there's tons of activity for your children or grandchildren, or, you know, so it's traveling. Maybe you took off some time from Memorial Day, which was last weekend, but nonetheless, people are starting to really get into summertime. And I know that changes the rhythm of things. Okay, I'm carefully coming in here. And again, you can go as light. We're just sketching. Again, think about this as a watercolor sketch. This is a lovely light painting. Okay. And I'm just moving this around. Let's add in some of the hooker's green here. I'm just going to let that dance. I'm not too worried about being super exact. Oh, I have a stem coming off over here. Now I do want to show you what I'm going to do. What I was talking about in the newsletter this month is sometimes I like to use these watercolor sketches as like a journal page. And one of the things I like to do, I don't always do this, but at the end of the season to look back through my prayer journal, my photos, my planner, the regular journal even, and just see like the kind of the highlights, like what have been the gifts of this season. Because life is so busy and there are so many distractions, right? There's so much coming at us every single day that I think sometimes it's really easy to miss the really special moments of the season. They just kind of get lost in the busyness of the everyday. And so what I like to do is I like to take stock of those, and just it helps me to remember them. It really helps in the frustrations of daily life, right? There's just so much hard stuff going on. It seems like a lot. That reminding me of the gifts of like answered prayer in my prayer journal, that's incredibly encouraging and really helps me to focus on the right things. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of splattering because I love splattering. You don't have to, but I just want to do a little bit of splattering because I think that just adds a bit of joy. And so I'm even going to pull out a little bit of yellow because we did have a little bit of yellow in here, and I'm going to take in this one a little bit of yellow and just lighten up where I see some lighter leaves and even maybe some sun reflecting over here, maybe in the stem a little bit. Now if you have some brown in your stem, what you can do too is you can take just the littlest bit of pink, and even see how that yellow and now that the green starting to merge, it starts to dance. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. And it just gives it a nuanced look. Really looks like our beautiful peony. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of pink where I can see some of those spots, and I'm just going to kind of dab it along the way over here. And if it looks super pink, like maybe put too much pink, just pick up some green, like the sap green, and go over it. It'll kind of fade out into like a reddish brown. Just a little trick of the trade here that I learned. I like to share all of my tricks with you. Now see, that's a little bit pinky, right? So I'm just gonna pick up some green. And you can either, you can take a dry brush and just pull it off, but I like to just go ahead and just use it and just merge it up a little bit here into this leaf even. Okay, lovely. Okay, so that is, I'm gonna just let that dry. That is gonna dry, and now I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with my other one in the journal. So just hold tight and I'm gonna grab that. Okay, so I just wanted to come back really quick and show you a few ways to just add a little bit of spark to your picture and just show you how I will use this to turn it into like a little bit of a journal. It's a nice 6x9, so it's gonna fit into your journal or your planner. You can just like tuck it away. It can be something really nice to look at. So, or look back on. Couple of things. You may notice that one of your peonies may have lost its shape a little bit. So this one's still looking really nice. This one kind of faded a bit. This was the previous picture that I had painted. So I can easily, what I can do is I can maybe just take my pen and I can just do a little bit of sketching here, right? Just not a lot, just real light, and just add in a little bit of definition to those lovely petals. I can come over here. I can add a little bit of like flair, right? And that's a lot of fun. I can just come through here. I sometimes, if I'm gonna do this, let me move my paint out of the way. I do like to make a little bit of flair. Like, let's just be have a little bit of fun with this. Do the edges of the stems, for example, and I can just come back and do this one as well. And again, we're just adding some definition. Maybe you wanna add in like the tendrils of like the leaves here. And of course, if you wanted to as well, you can add in a little bit more paint. But I'm just, again, just making this a little bit more defined. After I've done that now, if you want to add paint, make sure you're done with your pen work always, because the pen will get ruined if it goes on wet paint. I'm going to go ahead and start adding in just some of that journal entries. So we had left some space over here, and this is the one that we had painted together. And you can see there's actually quite a bit of space over here. We've got some we can paint on the splatters as well. And so what I will do is I will maybe just put in, I'll put in spring memories. So maybe I'm going to put, or I'll put season, I'll put spring, gifts, 2025. And I don't really have like the best handwriting. I know some of you have like beautiful script writing, which I love, but whatever, this is yours. So just don't even worry about it if you're like me and don't have the best handwriting. And then, if you want to do a little bit, fancy, you certainly can, but I just start writing out those gifts. So, I'll write them on the leaves, or maybe I'll just list them. And maybe if I want to be fancy, for example, I met a new baby, met my cousin's baby. For this spring, this March is when it was. That was so much fun. So much fun. That was such a gift. My brother came out to visit me, so I'll maybe over here, brother, visit. And again, that so much fun. I was able to, and then, again, you see I'm writing around the leaves. I can go like this, but then I can also write, just make a list. If you're a little bit more, you like things a little bit more orderly, you can write a list over here. You can write up on the stem, but just make this your own. Be very creative with it. I like to kind of go around the leaves and write what I love doing, but just a wonderful way to make a very personal letter, a watercolor sketch turned journal entry of giving thanks for the gifts of the season, and just a wonderful way to end spring by looking back at the gifts and the grace that we received and looking forward to summer, right? So what are we planning? I always want to remember to plant the good things in my heart and get rid of anything that was, or at least not focus, not water the negative things, right? So I hope that as you finish up spring and head into summer, you're able to collect those gifts. I'm going to spend a little bit of time writing more of those down and then just tuck this away into my journal. All right, if you didn't paint the lilacs, go back and enjoy those. And then I'm going to see you very soon for our next season of the Paint With Me. Again, link to the newsletter below. Have a beautiful, beautiful